it's Sarah from Kalm Pilates, and I wanted to talk about plantar fasciitis. It was a question that somebody asked me a while ago, and actually I wanted to definitely talk about this because actually my husband suffered from plantar fasciitis a couple of years ago, and I know it's not a nice injury. Very common for runners, possibly a combination of pounding movements and not enough stretching. But you know, there's always exceptions, so that is a very common way of getting the injury. The problem is it's not the easiest injury to get rid of. However, I want to let you know that it is possible because it's muscle and we can manipulate it. In my husband's case, it took around 6 months, and with regular stretches, adapting your shoes for a while, because it can be incredibly painful because it's the sole of your foot. So plantar fasciitis is an inflammation of the tendon of the sole of your foot, and it's not just when you run, it sometimes can then feel painful even when you walk. It will feel most painful often in the mornings when the muscles are tight. And as I said, sort of listening to your body. Don't run when it's painful, don't make it worse. Give yourself recovery time, and over time the injury should go, right? And in my husband's case, it's never flared up, so it took 6 months and that was it. And then it's never, he understands now what he needs to do to prevent it, and prevention is always better than cure, of course. So the first stretch that I recommend, because I've seen how it works and how well it worked, is you take your toes under and you sit back. Easy stretch to do. You could do this in front of the telly. When you're relaxing, you're trying to stretch out the tendon directly, right? So giving it a bit of length there, and that's really nice. And my husband made a point, which is quite good as well, that if you're sitting, just, watching the telly and you have your legs in front of you, you can actually put one foot on the other and press your toes back. So that's a great way of keep stretching the bottom tendon. You can do the other side, obviously. But it's really important with plantar fasciitis to not just see this injury in isolation. It's not just about the tendon under the foot. It often is actually caused by a tightness in your Achilles and your calf muscles. So it's really important that you do stretches for those as well. And a really good one to do is your down dog. Where you have your hands forward here, you stretch back, you push your hips high, breathe in, and as you breathe out, you press back and you try and get your heels closer to the floor. Now, if you are close to the floor, my advice would be to step out, because you want it to be a challenge and you want your heels to have that scope to stretch. So I could get my heels on the floor, but there's actually less of a stretch here than there is here. So step back. Keep pressing back. I feel it opening the back of the legs. It's really nice. So that's a really good one. Perfect. And what I also recommend is, if you have a staircase in your house, to stand on the bottom step, on the first step rather, and have your heels sort of lower than the step. So your toes are on the step, your heel, you press it down below the step. And that's a really nice way of stretching out your calf muscles really nicely. Then another one that's really good to do is actually a standing one, right? So I'm maybe out of camera a little bit, but just look at my legs. Those are the most important ones anyway. So you will be here, where you are. I'll just be a little bit lower so you can see me. So you press back, right? So this is always a calf stretch. It's where you press back. Again, you try to lower your heel to the floor. Quite nice. But then if you bend your knee and you go into the stretch there, you go a bit more into your Achilles. So you're trying to stretch. That's it. Sometimes it's better to make it smaller. That's it. You just have to listen to your body, right? So I can feel the stretch here quite nicely. So you could edge back. What I like to do when I'm stretching my calf muscle is to take my upper body parallel, and then you get a nice stretch here as well. Because, as you're stretching one muscle, it's quite nice to stretch the other one as well. So, and then step in, bend your back leg a little bit, and that's for your Achilles. Perfect. So those are a few stretches that my husband used to do quite a lot. The other thing is you can have a golf ball that you roll over your foot, so like a hard surface. But to be honest, he didn't do that often. Sometimes if it's really inflamed, what you can do, which was quite a nice thing to do for like an acute moment, is to have a plastic bottle of water, put it in the freezer so it's cold, and then roll that, put that under your foot and roll your foot over it. So you kind of are also sort of icing it a little bit. If it's inflamed, that could be quite nice to bring the inflammation down. So if you do this regularly and listen to your body, don't go for a run when it's still flaring up, give your body some time to recover, then hopefully the injury should disappear, and then from there you can make sure that you keep those muscles long. So the way to prevent this from happening again then is to keep the stretching going, keep those muscles long, keep the tendons long, and then this will be a one-time thing and it won't happen again. So I hope this is helpful. If you have any other questions, put it in the box below. And I hope to see you soon. Bye.